Nah, I sang already
I
one
did.
time.
So I heard that, and it
Uh,
was like, what is she doing? That
yeah.
was when she was on, right?
Yep. Is recording? Sit down first. And I gotta stop moving my chair. You don't want to hear yourself?
Oh yeah.
Talking to
Oh,
Mike.
hello, hello, hello. I'm here.
Hold
What we
on.
doing? What you doing?
Yeah. I just want you to talk more in here.
Uh, hello, hello, hello.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, I can hear it more. All right.
Mhm.
You sure 11 light?
I'm good. Welcome to the Grief Bully podcast. I am your host, J.Nicole. Thank you for joining our weekly discussion around grief, mental health, and your overall personal wellness. The Grief Bully podcast will serve as a vehicle to help you navigate life's journey. Be sure to subscribe, review, and share the podcast with anyone in your life that you think it will help. Let's bully grief together. What's up, beautiful people? What's going on? I am your host, J.Nicole. Welcome back to another episode of The Grief Bully. Man, what a week it has been. Some ups, some downs. But listen, we are here. And I am not by myself today. I am here. I have a special guest. I've got a true story of resilience. Like, how the heck have you survived? How have you maintained? Just a true definition of strong and strength and power. So yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing my guest with you and her story. We're going to have on Kera Young, K.Young, the artist, in here today with the Grieffully to shed some light and love, guys, for you today. Today is Monday, September the 23rd, and we are going to recap last week. So if you haven't already had a chance, I truly encourage you and invite you to download our previous episodes. Last week, we had a guest on and we talked about some key takeaways, I guess, would be everyone grieves differently. It's understandable that you might be angry at God, but just don't stay there. And a lot more things. So definitely go download that episode while you are there. Subscribe to the show. Leave a review, a 5-star rating. If the show has helped you, please, I encourage you to share it with someone else. So we're going to get into this. How's my guest feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks
Feeling
for
good? Feeling
having me.
groovy?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's go. This is going to be a good episode for you guys today. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Your story is one that I truly respect. We are family, and we do a lot
Little
together.
cuz.
Hold on, I think I'm older.
I don't know.
Yeah, you just had a
Maybe.
birthday. You're like, what do you
20,
say, 21?
21.
Okay, yeah, I'm pushing 34.
All right.
So
I'll take
sit
that.
down,
I
grasshopper.
take I take that.
So listen, if you follow me on social media, then you're probably already aware of who Kira is. We've done a lot of great work together as far as the grief life goes, the journey goes. We've got Grieve and Grow. We've got Project Equals 20, which is a documentary that we're underway with filming right now to highlight her story. So today's episode might be a little bit of a teaser for what's to come in the documentary because we are going to talk about her story here. So when I think about Kira and I think about everything she's had to overcome in the last 4 years, I think of the concept that we hear often of you never know how strong you are until being strong is all you have left. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. Actually, I have something tatted like that on me.
What is well? I mean, how many tats do you have? Looks like you have
Uh,
a million.
yeah, I have a lot. I lost count, but nah, that quote is actually I did get that tatted. Just from actually what I've been through. Is literally how I feel. Just like you never know how strong you are until, that's it. That's all you have left. And I just had to get that tatted because it's just like basically what I've been thinking and had to go through.
No, I truly understand that. I myself, I'm holding strong with one tattoo. It's a little baby, but it does mean strength. It's a little small
Yes.
baby, so it makes up for all the ones I don't have. So I want to get into this. We're going to ease into the topic, respectfully so, understanding that although we are family and we do talk about this often, and we have shared this part of your story, your life story with many people, I'm always sensitive and conscious of the fact that it takes a lot. It takes a lot to come on here and to recap. When you go over certain traumas you've been through, it definitely can open up wounds. But we're here to support you. everyone else out there, we're inviting you around the table to get into this conversation with us today. So, a couple things I want to touch on here. First, where are you from?
From Glassboro, New Jersey.
Okay, you went
Yes.
to grade school, high school, everything there?
Yep. Graduated from Glassboro High, and yeah, that's where I'm from.
Okay, a little birdie told me that you might play a little bit of basketball.
Yes, indeed. I played ball. Yeah, in high school, got Hall of Fame. Currently hold the record for all time scoring leader for the female side of things for basketball. So
Okay, did
that
your
was my thing.
career stop at high school or?
No, after high school, I got a scholarship to go to UMass. So I had to go up north in the cold. Went up there for 4 years, and then after I graduated college, I played professionally overseas in Iceland. Indeed.
Okay, so you're a part of the 1% that does not have student loan debt.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And yes,
I
I
got
am
other debt.
hating.
I got other
Yes,
debt
I
though.
am throwing shade. I always bring that up. But nah, I just wanted to give the audience, because I know you, I know where you're from, but
Mhm.
I wanted them to understand that you're from Glassboro, New Jersey. You play basketball. So that definitely paints the picture, in my opinion, of your character, how you're no stranger to hard work and to pushing through tough times. But I don't think anything, no amount of practices, no amount of hard coaches, tough seasons, sprints, anything like that could have possibly prepared you for what was going to happen to your life in 2015.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Nothing at all,
Nothing
right?
at all.
So we're gonna get into it and let the audience know what's happened here. So I know we've had conversations before where you told me that you were not familiar with grief and what grief actually was until grief was at your front door. Literally, the closest place to you that it could have been. It knocked on your door 2015. So if you wouldn't mind just introducing that and just letting the audience know what happened to you in 2015, and take your time with it
Mhm.
and what you feel comfortable with sharing.
Yeah. So before 2015, I have never lost anyone like close to me, in my family or just friends or anything like that. So I did not know what grief like was. I had no idea of what people went through. I never been like that close to someone, like that recent anyway, to like understand the pain that that you go through when you lose somebody. So everything was new to me. I guess it was kind of naive as well because it was just like me just thinking that, oh, that'll never happen to me. I would never lose somebody close enough where I would be even affected anyway. I never in a million years thought that I would ever lose um, anyone close anyway. This recent, I would say anyway. So it was kind of like yeah, I didn't know anything about mental health and like grief and how important it was. So it was just like, oh, okay, I understand that people go through things, we go through things, we go through struggles growing up, and we're taught to be strong, go through it, and it is what it is. You'll be okay. So that's just my outlook on anything, any struggle that I go through in life. It's just it is what it is. Get through it. You'll be okay. So in 2015 um, I actually was that summer. Actually was going on vacation to LA, and probably I think it was about a week before I was gonna go. So I was preparing for vacation, just not thinking of anything else. June 20th, 2015, my younger brother passed away, and um, it was basically when I first was when it first happened. um, I was just in shock. So it was kind of like I did not understand why this had to happen. I did go through being angry at God and not believing in God and not understanding, why would someone so young just have to die. He was 24, had two kids, and it just didn't make sense. And I understand the whole Christian thing. I believe in God, and it was he's in heaven, but it just seemed so unfair. So when it did happen, he did pass away of a drug overdose, and I do believe that he was going through a lot in his own personal life, and sometimes people do not know how to handle it, and I think the route that he chose led to unfortunately his passing. So yeah, so actually when it happened, I just remember just sitting on the top of the steps, just being completely numb, and I didn't feel anything in my whole body, and just sitting there like just sitting there, and people, family there, coming over, people calling me, and I don't remember anything anyone said. I just was just sitting there and just like disbelief, I would say. And
So would you say that you felt at that point that your life would never be the same? Were you even at a place at that initial, initial shock, initial conversations surrounding the loss of your brother? Did you ever think about like, wow, like what did you think about your life? Like, was it because again, sharing your story here
mm,
is to share one of resiliency, and of course you've pushed through and you still have difficult times and moments, but you're truly resilient. So what I want to show here is that, when you suffer that magnitude of loss, do you even see a way that you could even begin to go on? So you get that call on June 20th and you're going through everything on June 20th. What could June 21st even look like after that?
honestly, I don't think I properly grieved at first. So you can go to the next day. It was more so me still just being in shock and just not understanding like why this happened, what really happened, like the story of what happened, and then just for me it was just being there for my mom just because she's the strongest person I ever seen in my life. So just to see her so hurt and broken and literally just simply crying, just to see her crying, I can't remember the last time I ever seen her cry. So just that uh made me just want to be stronger and just try to help her and my dad as well, and then like his kids. And then it was just like I never really dealt with it. I guess I was trying to just like repress it and not really deal with it because I knew that it hurt so bad that I can't face this right now. So initially it was me running from it, I would say.
No, and you know what though, and that's the thing, and that's why it's so important having you here and sharing you and your story with our audience, because I think a lot of us, not to take away from your story, I think there's a lot of people out there as well that can relate to you as far as that goes, where you just get into this mode of being strong and being resilient, and then just putting your head down and having to figure out how to keep going, because in your position with your brother, I'm sure, and I don't want to make assumptions, but a lot of responsibilities probably fell on your lap as far as having to prepare for certain services and just, picking things out and getting that all together. I think that takes away from being able to actually allow yourself to feel, even if you wanted to,
Yeah.
because it doesn't seem like you wanted to, which a
Yeah.
lot of us, you just want to, be numb in that regard. So, again, although I know the story, I still want to send my love and condolences,
Mm.
because there's plenty times where I'm driving and I'm just thinking about you and I'm like, wow, like, did that really happen? Like, could that
Yeah.
possibly have really happened to someone's life? I have two brothers, and, I couldn't imagine, and I know that there's other people out there who have lost their siblings, and we hope that you tune into this episode and you can hear a story of strength and power. So you went through the loss, of your younger brother
Mhm.
in June 20th, 2015. And at that point, were you thinking that anything in your life could get any worse than that?
No, at that point that was the worst thing. And as like you were saying, I couldn't deal with it. Um, I just took on that role to pick out his clothes. I wrote his whole like everything. So that even that just writing his life story is just like what like this is it. This is the end. So after writing that, after seeing like someone so close to you that you love, so my younger brother, we basically like best friends. So just seeing when you see that person just like laying in a casket and you know that they're just that's it, and they close it and then you see them going into the ground, it's just like at that moment that's where it's like, yo, this really just happened. And like wow. So it's like that was the worst at that point.
Yeah,
um
I mean, and so what you feeling like that? I mean, that's the thing. So when I thought about having a grief bully, I always pictured it, and as well as Grieve and Grow, that's our private Facebook group that we have, guys. It also has events as well. But when we came up with a lot of those things, and Project Equals 20, and then now with the podcast, it was to have these uncut conversations, right? I feel like a lot of times either we don't talk about grief and loss and what we've experienced, or we temporarily do when it's all first happening. but to really get raw with it to the point, like you said, the things that you just said, cause like a lot of people, for one, have never experienced it. But when you experience that type of hurt and pain and devastation and hopelessness, you're picking out clothes
Yeah.
for your sibling that you were just talking to, that you
Right.
just saw. Like, how can someone stay sane after that? How can they continue to press on after that? And that's the things that I want to continue to talk about here. And I thank you so much. I'm going to say that so much throughout the show because it takes great bravery to do that. But you're talking about seeing people and you're seeing your brothers, your loved ones in a casket. Like, that's real, guys. So if you're out there and if you experience that and you feel like, some of the things that Kira have said here resonate with you, like, we're praying that you continue to press on and hang in there, as far as that goes. So you said that when this loss was experienced, you went through a lot. You had to be strong. You had to write the obituary, pick out the clothes, close the casket, speak at his service, all of those things that you had to do. And you're like, man, listen, is no way, not a way possible that anything bad like this can happen to me again.
Yeah. Yep. That's exact my thought process.
And then what happened?
And then so that was in 2015. So it's a unique weird story on, like, just everything that happened and just not knowing the truth. And my older brother, um he was he was there or just around when it did happen, and he was the one who did found him. So there was there was a lot of tension between me and him because I was just upset with him.
You and your older
My
brother.
older brother.
Okay.
Just because it just was I didn't know the truth of, like, the whole story, and it just seemed like he didn't want to say or didn't know, or it was just very frustrating.
Hmm.
So we didn't talk for a while, and I remember just talking to my one of my best friends, and we were just talking, and she's like, you should, talk to him, reach out. I know how you feel, but you never know. Like, what if that happens to him? Then you don't want that on your heart. And I can remember, like, I think we were sitting in a car, and I literally, like, turned and looked at her, and I'm like, that wouldn't happen though. Like, I already lost my younger brother. Like, I don't think God would do that. I don't think he would take my older brother 2 years after that. So in 2017 in August, my older brother also passed. And from the same cause, another overdose. And again, um he was the one that found him. He was, around him as well. We all were close. So I feel like he had a lot of guilt, a lot of he was going through his own, situations. And I believe, like I said, people handle situations differently. So he chose to do that, and and the result, unfortunately, was again my older brother passing 2 years after my younger brother passed. So after that, of course, I was done with everything. Just basically not even fully grieving my younger brother, and then my older brother passed. So then it's like, now I'm just like, what? I don't, like, who's God? Why is he doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Um, why my siblings? And I actually went through just thinking, like, why not me? Like, they both have kids. Like, my older brother has 5 kids, and between the two of them, that's 7. And I'm like, those 7 kids won't ever see their dad again. I'm still young. I don't have kids. I mean, I've been to college. I played ball. I went overseas. Like, okay, like, why couldn't it just been me? So that was my thought process as well. Just like, why couldn't it been me? So
Wow. So you said a lot there. I mean, a ton. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually break it up, give us a little break real quick, and I'm going to just bounce into our In Love and Memory segment. So our In Love and Memory segment, guys, if it's the first time listening to our show, it's a part of our show where we like to humanize and show love and respect to our loved ones that have gone on. So this segment, I thought it would be only right that we show our In Love and Memory to my two cousins, your brothers, Stephen Young and Kelvin, Scotty Mahan. And so we miss you guys. And, we just want to send love and condolences to yourself, to your mom, to your nephews and nieces as well. And listen, guys, wherever you are gone but never forgotten. And we're going to continue to push this mission forward. Project Equals 20, Grieve and Grow. Everything that we're doing is definitely in love and memory of you guys. So I just wanted to shout them out there. Guys, if you want to have anybody added into the In Love and Memory segment for future episodes, please email us at thegriefbully@gmail.com. Subject line in love and memory, and we definitely will take the opportunity to shout out your loved ones. So we're going to keep rolling here. Kara, again, thank you so much for everything that you shared so far. You said a lot there, though. You talked about one, survivor's guilt. You know, a lot of people do experience that, you know, where you sometimes, and I've actually experienced it in the opposite way. At one time, I was like so angry at my dad, and my grandma had already passed, and I was like, I was really angry at him, actually at my wedding. And I was like, I remember saying to myself, like, why didn't he die, you know, instead of her?
Mm.
And then he died.
Right. Right.
And then I'm like, why did any of them die?
Exactly.
You know. And so, I mean, we try to bring a little humor, guys. We understand that grief is a tough topic, but our goal is to make it a normal conversation, make it a little more comfortable. Of course, we're going to be sad. It's going to be triggering, but we have to talk about it. Like, we both just chuckled about two people in our lives that have passed away. Like, it's obviously, realistically, it's nothing funny about that.
Right.
But you got to find some sort of sunshine and, you know, light moments there. So you talked about a lot about the survival skill, and just not knowing and understanding, and then also, you know, not being on good terms, you know, per se, and things happening and thinking that, you know, there's no way that your life could have gotten worse. Also, who is God? Like, who is God at that point? And we talked about that a little bit last week, how, you know, when you're going through the grief journey, you will get angry at God. And like a lot of people, I don't know, maybe you can speak to this. Like, did you feel guilty for feeling angry at God, or did you just really not care? Because I mean, really, if we live in a world where everyone's like, oh, God is of love and God is of peace and all of these good things, but like, how do we justify not having my two brothers?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to hear all that. It was just at that point. It was literally me thinking, okay, there's no God. We're just here. When we die, we die. It is what it is. And then, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of like lost all hope in believing in anything, because to me, it's just like, okay, what is the purpose of this? Um, God always knows what to do, and there's a reason why he does everything. There's a bigger picture, and then I'm thinking like, okay, what bigger picture comes out of losing both of your siblings, and now I'm the only one left? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that part too, about the fact that, because our audience, I'm making assumptions, guys. I'm working through having guests that I'm familiar with story, but they were your only two siblings. So that's the other thing too, is that you had two brothers, your only two brothers, and now you don't have them anymore. I think that's definitely an important aspect, because you didn't have another sibling or anyone to lean onto or to help understand your pain remotely. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of tough there too. So again, why we talked about in the beginning is that you don't know how strong you are until being strong is all you have. And that's exactly what I think about when I think about you and your story of resilience. So I got a couple questions for you here.
Mm.
I just want to ask you, what do you think was your lowest point in the last 4 years? So it could be, maybe you were sitting alone and not feeling great. Maybe you were driving and feeling, maybe you were somewhere. Like, if you can think about, like, maybe just like your lowest point, never been that low in your life, through all the tragedy that you faced over the last 4 years.
Um, my lowest point, probably just being alone and having to deal with like the situation, like both of my brothers passing on my own. I felt like, for one, being a strong person, not I guess my ego or pride, not wanting to ask for help. So just sitting in the house, being just alone, just feeling dark, and then just having issues of like feeling depression and not admitting that I was depressed. Also just feeling anxiety, like not being able to sleep, waking up in the middle of the night all the time, and just like always having dreams about them, thinking that I was like crazy, like I can't let go or something, or just like, I don't know. It was just at one point I was just starting to feel, I guess, like weird in a way, because it was just like, why am I like feeling this way? I just remember just being in the house and just like sitting on my kitchen floor just crying
Mm.
and like not really feeling anything outside of just being like just hurt. And I just felt like it was the lowest point of my life because at that point, like honestly, I didn't feel like I had purpose. I didn't feel like I wanted to continue like living, like to be honest, and just feeling like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? I had no positive thoughts or doing anything or just about anyone or anything. And I just remember like one day I looked in the mirror and there was just like I felt nothing. Like looking at like nothing. Like it was just no I was just like I don't know what I'm looking at. So I think that was like the lowest point of my life and it was kind of scary because it was just like I never felt like that ever. So
Wow, that's
mm,
you said a lot there, and I think a lot of people out there in our audience could definitely relate to feeling isolated, to feeling, some to some extent suicidal thoughts, not wanting to live. And you said a great thing there is that your ego and your pride. And I think a lot of times, we might feel like we want people to help us, but we're not really willing to ask. So then we're just caught between a rock and a hard place.
right,
Like,
exactly.
help me, but where are you at? But I'm not telling
Right.
you I need
Yeah,
help. So like, I'm
exactly.
just pissed. Like,
And
I am always
it's
there.
it's crazy because like I obviously my cousin. I have a big family. All of my friends like they're so supportive and like just sometimes I just could have just reached out, but I just felt I'm good.
Yeah, trauma, it
Yeah.
bees like that. And so, of course, if I'm going to have you share with the audience your lowest point, then I absolutely want to have you share your highest point. So, over the last 4 years, it could be recent. I mean, you was just in vacay mode, so I don't know. It might be your highest, might have been last week.
Nah.
But yeah, so if you can talk about your highest point, if there is a highest point, because you
Mhm.
might not have even reached that point where you felt, fully like good again. So, if you could
Yeah.
share that.
I think it's like on and off, being like reaching peaks and valleys, but for the most part, just like getting into music. I feel like when I was at my lowest point, I did start writing more, and I think that was like my only like safe haven at that time. And then me taking it seriously and being able to talk about how I feel, talk about what I'm going through, like putting it into music. It just made me feel a little better because it's just like now I feel more so what my purpose is and that I'm not just doing this because I want to be a rapper. I just want to do music. It's basically like I'm doing this like for my family, for my brothers. Like I'm keeping their name alive. So like my highest point is like I finished a song about them and I wasn't able to talk about them or even like to anybody else. Like even now sometimes like people don't even know that I lost my brothers. Like if I'm starting my new job, I just don't feel like I want to talk about it. So just like being able to have a song and like knowing that people that don't know me, they're gonna know everything about this story and they're gonna know my brothers. That makes me just feel proud that they're not just dead and gone and that's it. So it's just like they're in my music, they're in me. So like that's my highest point is just like finding my purpose again.
Yo, you know that you're helping so many people right now.
I
Like
hope
you're
so.
you're
I
you're
hope so.
helping me right now, and I'm trying to keep it together. And you're wow. I'm trying to take a second. So you're definitely helping a lot of people by sharing your story and being transparent like that because that is real. And so basically, you're sitting in your kitchen on the floor, hopeless and not knowing what you're gonna do, and then you grab a hold of music and you
Mhm.
start writing, and that's your therapy. And now, like you said, you're proud of yourself. So I'm sure on June 20th, I'm sure on August 23rd, you did not think at all possible that you would say you would be proud of yourself in the next 4 years,
Yeah,
let
not at
alone
all.
even maybe being alive.
Yeah, not
So
at all.
again, I keep reiterating the resiliency. If you guys are out there and you've been through something in life, this is an episode that you want to keep replaying to remember that you can get through it. And I thank you so much for sharing that. So question, if you had to describe grief in a color, and it can't be black.
Oh,
It can't be black
that's the
because
first color
black,
that comes to
yeah,
my mind.
black is like the universal. I'm in mourning. Meanwhile, guys, I have on a black shirt,
Right.
and but any other color than black, what would you describe your grief? Not just grief in general, but just if you had to put a color to your grief.
Uh, I wouldn't put one color because for me, my definition or what I've been through. Not saying that everyone everyone is the same. I feel like my grief is just like a mix of colors, and just like that doesn't make sense. Just like no bright colors, because that's like kind of like loud and happy. Since I can't use black, I would say gray, like dark gray, light gray, like a hint of like a light blue when you have those like good memories and you smile like, oh man, if they were here. And then in a blink of an eye it can change to like a gray. Um just like in my grief, I can be out having fun, and then I just stop, and just like this, like, cuz I'm just thinking about my brothers or something reminds me of them, and I go back to that gray color instead of being like blue, like all right, cool, I'm good. Then it goes to gray and black. So I think it's just like a mixture of just dark gray and like a light blue and
Well,
black.
let me tell you
I'm
something.
saying black.
When I, I'm gonna let you get black because you killed that question. Like I had no idea. I was like, this would be a good question. I'm thinking you might be like red, and then we'll move
Yeah.
on. But you gave us an in-depth thing there, and I like that. And I think I brought that up because I think that everybody's story of grief is different. Nobody's story is the same, no matter if you've been through similar losses. And the way that you painted